If you're sitting there hoping she'll come back around, I've got news for you. Hope is the slowest way to lose your family. What you do next determines whether she checks back in or checks out for good. Hey, I'm Noah Allen, founder of the Heroic Husband Method, and I help high-achieving men save their marriages without begging, chasing, or waiting for their wife to get on board. And because that strategy, it doesn't work. Not now, not when she's already emotionally gone. And hey, if this hits home, I'll drop a link in the description to book a free call. It's your shot to get clarity before it's too late. So let's talk about one thing that keeps more men stuck than anything else. Hope. Not the kind of hope that drives you forward. I'm talking about the quiet kind, the passive kind, the maybe she'll come back around kind. And look, this is one of the most poisonous things and one of the most poisonous mindsets. And the reason why I say it's poisonous is because it starts off as something as maybe this one little thing is what's really going to do it. Maybe if I just do this one thing, this is all that's going to really put it all together. But maybe if I just get one little glimmer of hope, maybe. And then it builds up into something that might seem benign. That kind of, oh, well, yeah, what's wrong with just having a little hope? But then it turns into you not having a strategy, you not having a plan, you not being able to stay calm when things get all kind of bent out of shape and turmoil starts coming. And the ups and downs start going through, and you miss out those opportunities that you can make and really hone in when you're in the what I call the trough period, because you have your peaks and your valleys, because success is rarely ever just a straight line, right? You have your peaks and valleys. And when you just rely on hope and you don't have an actual strategy on how to plant seeds, talk, how to make sure that you change the path that you're going on, well, it's poisonous because it's slowly killing your chances, very slowly. Because right now, your wife is crying for help. Her feminine is trying to reach out. Even if she says she's done, you are looking way too much at the symptoms that she's talking about. The feminine talks about the symptoms. You need to, in your masculine, in your logic, take a step back and look at the actual problem of what's going on, right? So just kind of sitting back, being passive, and maybe she'll come around. Oh, if I see a glimmer of hope, well, that's some of the worst thinking ever, because that same thinking is also what she's seeing and confirming that she is hopeless, that you aren't going to step in your masculine and rise to the occasion. You know, it feels safe. But I'm going to tell you again, reinforce this, it is a trap. Here's what most men do when their wife starts to check out. They hope she notices their efforts. They hope space will fix it, but it doesn't. They hope one good vacation or a therapy session will turn the corner. And these are especially worse because the vacations are actually done out of obligation. They don't create want or genuine desire. You have to engineer that. You have to do the steps. When your wife goes on a vacation out of obligation, it just creates more pressure. And when the brain has all this pressure that's just piling up, well, we do something pretty cool in normal life, not so cool in this environment. The brain will choose the path of least resistance. The brain will try to get rid of whatever is burning the most calories. Because when you go into a problem state, your brain, and that's when you're in a heavy thinking mode, when you're heavy thinking, that means you're in a problem state. And our bodies, because of evolution and how we developed, don't want to burn calories. We don't want to be in that problem state. We don't want to be in that thinking mode. We just want to be. Some of the best times in life or when you just exist and you just are. But when you are creating this obligation to go because of vacations, well, that puts a lot of pressure on the need to perform, whether it's for the kids, whether it's for the fact that you spend the money and you're going on the vacation. That needs to be gotten away with, because we do not want purely obligation. We want genuine burning want and desire. And then when therapy is brought in, you're starting to engineer an environment to where your wife, your spouse, won't come to you, won't have an equal exchange with you. They want to wait for this tertiary party to solve the problems for you. So instead of her surrendering her feminine into your masculine, and you guys working as a team in perfect interdependence and combination with each other, well now, we'll just wait till the therapist. We'll just go to the therapy we'll just talk about this in therapy. And that bottles up all that energy. And that's what really fabricates resentment. Resentment is like a festering wound. So when all that energy is just piled in, it has no freedom of expression. That happens for the feminine and that happens for the masculine. When you feel like your boundaries are being crossed and you have to bite your tongue, that doesn't ever feel good. And you grow a little resentful because of it, because you can't speak your mind. Okay, but hope without action? Well, that's just waiting in slow motion. While you're hoping, she's emotionally moving further away. But hope without action, well, that's just waiting in slow motion. And while you're hoping, she's emotionally moving further away. So imagine it like this. Your house is on fire. You smell the smoke, you hear the crackling, the walls are starting to glow orange, and now imagine you just sit on the couch, hoping it burns itself out. That's exactly what passive hope looks like when your marriage is falling apart. You wouldn't do that with your own home, would you? So why do you do it with your family? And that's a tough question that a lot of men have to really come to terms with, especially because with everything else, we tend to go after it. We tend to fix the problem. And then when you're too much in a hunter mindset and you're not in a farmer mindset and you're too go, you put all this pressure and you're like a bull in a china shop. You're just breaking things left and right. Like doing way too much because you want to solve it now. Even though this problem has accrued over a long period of time. And then all of a sudden you pull back. You're like, wait a minute. And you get a fear to perform. You get a fear that anything you do will be the straw that broke the camel's back, even though that camel has been crying in agony because that back has been broken for years. Okay? So you don't just want to sit back and wait. You need to make sure that you continue and move forward with accurate action. I remember when my wife said, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I actually froze, right? There's fight, flight, and there's freeze. I froze. I thought giving her space would show maturity, but all it did was prove I wasn't willing to lead. Hope by itself is dangerous. It tricks you into thinking you're doing something, but really, you're just stalling while the connection dies. And that's where that fear really starts to destroy things on an even deeper level, because that's when she's asking for you to show up in your masculine. That's when she's asking you to lead. Too many men look at the tree, they don't separate it from amongst the forest. You need to take a step back and look at the whole forest. Or she's speaking about the symptoms to the problem. You need to take a step back and actually look what the real problem is. And then you need to start going after that. Here's the truth that no one has told you. You do not need her to be on board to start saving your marriage. In fact, waiting for her to want it too is exactly what's keeping you stuck. Looking for that little glimmer when she's asking you to take the reins. She's asking you to grab the bull by the horns and step up and show up. Looking for that is just going to make it worse. Most men think, well, she said she's done. There's nothing I can do. No, that's not how masculine leadership works. That's not how trust gets rebuilt, and it's definitely not how attraction gets reignited. If your business was falling apart, would you wait for your team to get motivated before fixing it? No, of course not. You'd step up, get clear, and start solving the problems. You lead first, and then the belief follows. Same thing here. She's not going to say, okay, honey, I'm ready to reconnect, while she's still emotionally guarded. That's not how the feminine energy works. And for some reason, especially nowadays, maybe this is just a greater symptom of the breakdown of everything in society right now for the masculine and the feminine. But for some reason, most guys just kind of like want to know, like, oh, maybe there's a little bit of effort. Maybe if there's a little something, I'll go for it. Yeah, sure. When your family's on the line, your kids are on the line, the love between you and your spouse are on the line, divorce is negative energy. Negative energy is sticky and it spreads. Divorce literally spreads generationally. This isn't something to just be like, oh, we'll wait and see. No. This is something you have to go after, even if your spouse isn't on board, because they're hopeless. They're in a rut and they don't see a way out. That's where you step in. You lead in your masculine. Now, let me tell you about one of my clients. We'll call him Jeff for privacy's sake. So Jeff came to me sleeping in the guest room. His wife had shut down, wouldn't make eye contact. Instead of begging her to talk or dragging her to therapy, Jeff focused on shifting himself, which is the biggest needle mover. And not just this, oh, I'm going to be this self-developing and I'm going to be the best that I can be. No. You need to do more than just, oh, I'm just going to be the best that I can be. You need to be active in building yourself up or become fully self-actualized and work strategically to heal, shift, and bond with your spouse. He became calm, steady, present. He led the home without trying to convince her of anything. Within 2 weeks, she started asking him how he was doing. A week later, she invited him to sit with her on the couch again. He didn't talk her back. He led her back with consistency and strength. When she feels the shift in you, she doesn't need a sales pitch. She starts to wonder, what's going on with him? Now, this is why one of the biggest things that you can do is change your internal world. I'm really big, and this might sound a little woo-woo, but I'm really big on how your mind shapes the reality around you, okay? The inner world, right, becomes your battery power. So the world around you is a reflection on the world inside of you. One of the biggest things that a lot of men can't handle is our women are a reflection of our leadership skills, right? Men build a house, women make a home. The deeper thing behind it is men build the environment for the feminine to come in because she has a nesting, nurturing energy. And most guys just want to sales pitch their way into fixing things. Stack all this evidence, all these past memories, stack it, stack it, stack it, stack it, stack it. But to her, that just feels like emotional manipulation, and that doesn't show your leadership. Now, look, when she says that, okay, and she starts to wonder about you, that curiosity, that energy is how connection starts to rebuild. That's what also is the beginning to that genuine want, that want to know. All right, now that you know how you can start to turn it around alone, let's get clear on this. You should never start alone blindly. Because random action without a map, that's not leadership. That's just panic in disguise. Imagine being on a plane where the engines are acting up and the captain doesn't just, the captain doesn't just randomly start pushing buttons and hope it all works out. He follows the protocol. He trusts the checklist. He communicates clearly with the tower. Why? Because lives are at stake. Same thing here. Your wife, your kids, your legacy, they deserve more than just trial and error. This is where most men fail. They finally snap out of the whole waiting mode and swing the pendulum all the way into overreacting. And I always tell my private clients is, men either do one of two things. You either emotionally heartbleedy and just like vomit it all out. There's so many names for it. You probably have heard of it, like trauma dumping, just bleeding all over the marriage. And that shows a very unsolid lack of leadership foundation that your wife needs. You need to be that calm. You need to be that grounding energy. That's not grounding. And then men go either overly stoic. They read Marcus Aurelius meditations and then they just go hard into stoicism. But really, a true leader is compassionate. A true leader is in the middle. A true leader understands the physical capabilities, the mental capabilities, and the spiritual capabilities of the people that they are leading. Okay? It's not this huge swing shift, overreact, underreact. So most men, when they overreact, they over-apologize, they overshare, they ask her every day if she's feeling any better, which shows a lot of neediness and a lot of weakness. And all that does, smothers her, kills safety, and it confirms her deepest fear, that you still don't get it. One guy I worked with, we'll call him Jason, started making changes fast. He got in the gym, he started meditating, he wrote a long letter to his wife, owning everything, even though for this, okay, written stuff is at the lowest of the barrel. You want to speak it, right? You want to actually have her hear your tone, right? But for this case, there was specific reasons why we're okay with the letter. But then he kept sending follow-up texts every night asking if she believed him, right? It backfired, not because his intentions were wrong, but because he was acting from fear, not from grounded leadership. And I had to point this out to him numerous times, but he was just trying to execute fast. But you got to think about it like this. It's about precision, not about coming in with a machine gun and just shooting everything up. That's why inside the heroic husband method, we use a system. We don't throw spaghetti at the wall and hope something sticks. We followed a layered process where healing comes first, then shifting the dynamic, then rebuilding real emotional bonds. You can absolutely start this alone. You just don't have to guess your way through it. If you've been walking on eggshells, unsure what to do next, you're not broken. You're just flying without the right instruments. And once you have a proven path, that's when your confidence and her trust start to come back. So, brother, if you're still waiting for her to come back before you act, you've already lost. This journey starts with you, and it starts now. If this is the biggest thing that I can tell anybody and everybody, okay, I'm tired of all the if only. If only I would have known this sooner. If only I would have listened to this sooner. If only I would have taken action a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. If only. You do not want to be stuck in the if onlys. So if you're done guessing, you're done Googling, and you're done waiting, let's talk. Book a free call, and I'll show you exactly how to shift from being a man she tolerates to a man she can trust and desire again. Go to the description below. No pressure, just clarity. Your next move starts here.